CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
As the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, he said, yes, it has been hard. He's been leaning on his faith. He's been leaning on the folks in the Browns front office and also his family members as well. Meanwhile, John Fox, well, this guy has had himself one heck of a career as a head football coach, not only with the Panthers, the Broncos, and now in his third season with the Chicago Bears. Bears won the toss. They deferred. Nugent will tee it up. Matthew Days is back deep to receive for the Cleveland Browns. You wouldn't know it, but he's standing inside the 5-yard line right now.
Take our word for it.
Yep. This is certainly not as bad as it was in Buffalo 2 weeks ago. So Nugent is ready to go. So are we. And the ball will be taken by Nate Orchard, one of the up men. And Orchard bounces his way toward the sidelines before he's taken down at the 23-yard line. Deion Bush makes the tackle for the Bears. All right, so our second straight look at DeShone Kizer. Kizer realizes that last week was not one of his best days. 9 passing touchdowns, 19 interceptions. He can run the ball, which now he feels like he should have run the ball a little bit more last week, particularly with a couple of those interceptions.
Yeah, you see it a lot with young quarterbacks. They certainly have, and he certainly has the skill set and the physical ability to play, but if you can cut back on your mistakes, the rest of your game exponentially gets better, and it's a hard lesson to learn for young quarterbacks.
Well, it gives your team a chance to win.
Here's Crowell. Crowell said he wanted the ball more this week, and he gets it on the first down and takes it up toward the 30-yard line. Let's take a look at the Browns offense. Bitonio and Zeitler are two guys that Hugh Jackson told us have really stood out this year, particularly with Joe Thomas being out on the offensive line. Crowell wanted the ball. He said that he met with Hugh Jackson, and Hugh Jackson said, guys, I've got to do a better job of keeping him in the rotation.
Well, this guy's averaging in the last 7 games almost 5.7 yards a carry. Why would you not feed this guy the football? It will do nothing but help your quarterback and your team in general.
On second down and 5, that was Coleman in motion. The handoff goes to Crowell, and Crowell has the first down as he bounces up to the 34. Let's take a look at the Bears defense. Akeem Hicks, we spoke with him on Friday. He did not make the Pro Bowl. He said it only lasted a day, the fact that he was snubbed, and it's happened before. He talked about Sam Acho and how good he has been filling in at the outside linebacker position. And they get Adrian Amos back today in the secondary, and they feel really good about their two safeties. On the 34-yard line on first down, 2 straight runs for Crowell.
5 down. Easy.
Josh Gordon is closest to us, covered by Mukamara. And the handoff to Crowell again. 3 straight runs, and he is wrapped up and taken down by Christian Jones, who's really stepped it up for the Bears.
Yeah, and the Bears know that Cleveland wants to run the football. They're walking the safety. The safety comes right down inside the box. They've got all these guys in here. They're daring Cleveland to throw the football, and Cleveland's not having it.
That's the old Bear 46 defense that Buddy Ryan made famous. Every team in the NFL runs it now, and the way to attack that, and DeShone Kizer did a great job. You want to run the ball weak against that 46 defense. He checked to it. Nice job by the young quarterback.
How important are his checkdowns and his developments?
Huge.
Crowell again, and he slips one tackler. That was Eddie Goldman. That eventually take it down, but did get a couple yards.
Yeah, you talk about a quarterback running checks and stuff, and we talk. Even Mitch Trubisky mentioned this. It's getting to the point for both these guys where they don't have to think about what their assignment is in this offense, and all they do is get their guys in, check the protections, check the personnel and formations, and then just make the reads. So many times you spend so much time thinking about what you're supposed to be doing as a player, you don't actually get to play football.
Well, it'll be third down. You saw where they are, 33% on third down. They've got trips to the outside, including one of their tight ends. Kizer to throw, steps up in the pocket, throws to the right for Gordon, and he can't hang on. Covered by Eddie Jackson. Oh, that may have been a spot where Kaiser could have run for the first down.
You're 100% right, Tom. You know, when you look at it, it was straight man-to-man coverage across the board. The Bears secondary challenging the receivers of the Cleveland Browns, and there's nobody that has DeShone Kizer in man-to-man defense. They may be spying somebody on him if he does start getting run, but he should be able to make one guy miss. That would have been his best option there in 3rd and 4.
Flags go flying.
False start. Offense number 39.
Yeah, that's a good job by the
5-yard
Bears.
penalty. 4th down.
It's kind of meaningless in a point like this, but that's a nice job by the Bears. They've got something planned up front for a return, and they did a shift late inside, and one of the interior guys, as they started to check off and reassess their assignments in man blocking, they got a little jump and a little false start up front.
Well, it moves the ball back to the 36, where it'll be 4th down and about 9. Colquitt on the punt. Cohen says get away. It bounces at the 43. And then hits a Brown at the 41-yard line. It's Ricardo Lewis. And that's where the Bears will take over. Hope everybody's enjoying their Christmas Eve. It's the Bears and the Browns. We'll be back after this. Well, the Browns go down quietly in their first series of the afternoon, and now the Bears and Mitchell Trubisky will take over on 1st down. Trubisky's been better the last 3 weeks. In fact, 314 yards passing last week. He said he wants to throw the football more. All 3 of his interceptions came in the second half last week against the Lions. That was Bellamy in motion from the 31. The handoff goes to Howard, and Howard lowers his shoulder and gets up to the 34-yard line before Joe Schobert makes the tackle. Let's take a look at the Bears line. So they have switched around their offensive line. This is the way the offensive line kind of looks at the end of the game last week. Whitehair is usually the center. He moves over to the guard position. Deion Sims may be a factor because of the short passing game today that Trubisky told us about on Friday afternoon. It'll be 2nd down and 7 from the 34. Browns showing blitz from the outside. From the gun, Trubisky to throw for the first time, and he throws high, intended for Kendall Wright, and a flag comes in. Jabril Peppers was in on the coverage. There's Terry McCauley.
Pass interference. Defense number 22. Automatic 1st down.
Yeah, if Mitch Trubisky was an elite quarterback, you say he knew, he saw the interception, threw it over his head purposely, but right here, just grabs the outside arm, and that's Jabril Peppers. You see how he pulls his hands back. That's most guys. That's a dead giveaway. It is a dead giveaway.
Yeah, Kendall Wright, too. 17 receptions over the last 2 weeks, among the league leaders. He's going to be a big target for Mitch Trubisky today as well.
Bellamy in motion to the near side. And the handoff to Howard, and Howard is stood up by Carl Nassib. And he lost a couple yards on the play. Let's take a look at the lineup for the Browns. Well, yesterday Hugh Jackson told us about Trevon Coley and how impressed he was with the way he played last week, and they want him to step up more. Schobert's just been a tackling machine. He's among the top 5 in the National Football League the last couple of games. And Jamar Taylor, foot injury last week, didn't play basically except for special teams, but he's back out there for Hugh Jackson. Loss of 2 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 12. Ball at the 40-yard line of Chicago. And Trubisky to throw, middle of the field. Pass is complete to Kendall Wright. And Wright gets up across the 45, close to the 48-yard line.
Good job by Trubisky. He looked very comfortable getting through his progression. Knew he had Kendall Wright right in front of him as his 3rd option. It worked out perfectly. Kendall Wright gave him a nice spot to put that football. Now they've got a 3rd and 5 to put themselves in a desirable situation.
And they bring Tariq Cohen in to join Howard. Howard's in the backfield. Cohen is part of that bunch formation. The 3 receivers on the near side. And Trubisky tries to avoid the blitz, but cannot do so. He is sacked and taken down by Justin Curry, who came blitzing in for the Browns.
Well, Justin Curry, great job. Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator for Cleveland, known for a bunch of different exotic looks, and especially with a young quarterback and Mitchell Trubisky, he had no clue that Curry was coming clean. Very, very nice design of that blitz by Greg Williams and that defense.
O'Donnell on the punt. Peppers back deep to receive. He just wants a chance to return it, but the ball goes over his head, and it rolls into the end zone, which it didn't do last week against the Ravens. So he's probably happy about that. So, second possession for the Browns. Yeah, it's a day for the Hardy here in Chicago.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. New York Life. With the right guidance, everyone can be good at life. And by the 2018 Ford F-150, it doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
Well, before the Super Bowl era, these were two of the best teams in football, with the Bears winning 8 NFL championships across 5 decades, and the Browns claiming 4 titles, 3 in the 1950s. We were at their practice facility the other day. Beautiful statue of George Halas right outside, and plus different memorabilia when you walk into their lobby. This is a fan base that's longing for success, much like Cleveland is. This will be the second possession for the Browns after a 60-yard punt. The motion is Telfer, the tight end, and the pitch goes to Crowell. Crowell trying to find a little daylight, not much there. He's stopped by Jonathan Bullard. Friday and Saturday, CBS features some of the top teams in the country. 7th-ranked Kentucky, 4th-ranked Duke, and the #1 team in the nation, Jay Wright's Villanova Wildcats. 2 days of outstanding basketball on CBS. Be at the Fieldhouse on Butler, on the campus of Butler next week for Villanova and the Bulldogs. That'll be a tremendous atmosphere. Gain of 2. You guys think Crowell's message was heard this week? Just
Seems
keeps carrying.
yes.
So, yeah.
Whereas Njoku, who didn't get a reception last week, he's able to scamper for a first down.
There's no question that both these teams pride themselves, particularly the Browns, but the Bears as well, on their ability to stop the run, and they do a nice job of it, and it's going to force both these young quarterbacks. You got to think both these defenses are in the same position. They want to force a young quarterback to make throws he's not sure about and to see things he's not sure about.
And the one thing DeShone Kizer told us in our meeting yesterday was that this Bears defense, John Fox, always known for great defensive teams, but very, very simple in their philosophy. Kizer said he's going to have access against this defense. It means it's pretty clean to make his decisions and his reads.
Crowell bumped into Kizer as he took that handoff, and Akeem Hicks is able to take him down. No gain on the play. Well, Hugh Jackson certainly did not expect to be 1-29 with the Cleveland Browns, but he certainly likes Christmas Eve. 2-0 as a head coach, 0-33 on every other day.
Well, it speaks well for his chances today, I guess, right? I mean, and let's face it, I mean, if you got to think, given the way the season has gone for these two teams, this is Cleveland's best chance in the last 2 weeks to get a victory when they play Jacksonville, who's deep in the playoff hunt next week.
On second down, Kizer to throw to the right side, broke it up. Beautiful breakup by Kyle Fuller, who certainly looks like he's back to 100% with that bum knee. 17 pass deflections for Fuller.
Yeah, I was wrong. I said Jacksonville, and Steve Berline about put me in a headlock. It's Pittsburgh they play next week.
We would have gotten you there.
Yeah, you left me hanging. But I was. That's the thing. This is a game that Cleveland's got to think, and the guys tell us they believe they can win every game. That's the way players think, and today's no exception.
On 3rd down and 10, conservative, they go to Duke Jackson, and Jackson's able to get just a couple of yards. Duke Johnson.
Well, and that shows right there. I think with these field conditions and the past history of his young quarterback, DeShone Kizer, Hugh Jackson right there choosing to play it close to the vest, thinking about the play action or the field position part of this game, trying to pin Chicago back at their end of the field instead of making a mistake and maybe giving them a short field.
Cohen back deep to receive, stands at his 26. Plenty of time in the play clock as Colquitt is ready to punt for the second time. This time it's a different punt. It is a high, booming kick, and Cohen takes it at the 15. He did not ask for a fair catch, and he is lightning in a bottle. Along the sidelines, he bumps out of bounds. I don't know how he was able to even start himself on that.
Well, one reason he was able to one reason he was able to do it is because he's courageous.
Well, he certainly has been a huge bright spot. 28-yard return. Excellent field position for the Bears. Second possession for the Bears. It begins at the 43 of Chicago. Trubisky has plenty of time, and he's got Deion Sims along the sideline.
Beautiful job by the play-action bootleg fake going to the left side. Trubisky, he drew the full Cleveland Browns defense that way. You're going to see everybody just kind of sliding over to the left side, the left side of the offense for the Bears. They completely leave Sims uncovered over the top. Trubisky didn't panic. Nice, smooth, accurate throw. Big gain for the Bears.
Gain of 24 yards from the 33, and now a fumble as Trubisky lost it and is able to recover it.
Yeah, Trubisky was going to hand this off, and it came out of his hand right into Howard. It looked like a pitch play, but the handling of the football, watch, he's going to turn around, and this ball's just going to pop out of his hand. And he never got it to Howard, and that's...
You know, the football, as you know, see, the football does freeze if it's sitting out there too long, and it makes that ball slip. But I mean, you don't think about that in the snow. I would prefer snow as opposed to rain. But the cold football is very slick because it kind of freezes on the outside.
Loss of 4, second down at 14. Off the fake, Trubisky sets up in the pocket. Pocket's collapsing, he gets away, and he's going to run close to the first down. And the Browns better be careful because Nassib could have got called for something because Trubisky was sliding down.
I agree that nobody threw a flag, but that should not have been a... Nassib right here is going to end up chasing Trubisky, and he's going to end up piling on top of him, and that's, when the quarterback goes feet first, that's a no-no.
Well, that was Myles Garrett in the backfield that really should have made the play on the sack in the backfield to show that the athletic ability of Trubisky, but Myles Garrett, first pick in the draft this year, very athletic. You'd like to think he'd normally make that play.
Battling a sore ankle for most of this year. It'll be third down at 6 from the 29. Trubisky has time again, pumps, he can run it for the first down. If he can get away from Nassib, he does. He has the first down out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. He's down to the 17-yard line.
It's a fine line between having a quarterback who runs a lot and a quarterback who picks his spots and can run a lot. And Trubisky in the last 2 plays has absolutely crushed the Browns defense. You don't think of him as a guy who's going to do this type of thing. So when a quarterback like Trubisky, who can throw and throw accurately, takes off and runs, defensive coordinators are going nuts on the sideline because there is no defense for that.
Well, it's a gain of 12. 36 rushes this year for Trubisky. Howard is back in. In motion is Daniel Brown, the tight ends. On first down, here's Howard. Howard trying to get to the edge and is shoved out of bounds by Myles Garrett and Burgess.
Yes, Steve Berline, you know this. I mean, it's defensive coordinators, they hate quarterbacks who can run. They kind of like quarterbacks who do run because then you can make a plan for it.
It's part of the game plan, no doubt about it. But when I see Mitchell Trubisky, the way he moves and the way he's going through, this is my first time of being able to see him up close here. He has a lot of mannerisms of like an Aaron Rodgers, who I'm not comparing him to Aaron Rodgers. Nobody go crazy here on me. But what I'm saying is the way he gets through his progressions, and then if he doesn't see it, doesn't like it, he tucks it and goes. That's the way Aaron Rodgers breaks a lot of defensive backs as well.
From the 17-yard line, here's Howard again. And Howard, Danny Shelton takes him down.
Yeah, you talk about, so now that Steve Berline has said Mitch Trubisky is going to be just as good as, we'll go to Jordan Howard.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense number 94. Half minutes to go.
1,300 yards last week. First Bears player with 1,000 yards rushing in each of his 2 seasons. Jordan Howard, pretty special.
With all the snow out there, we didn't even see the flag go down.
Flag got tucked under a snow pile.
That's number 94's first down, counting towards his qualification.
Well, we saw Nassib pile on Trubisky after the long run, and now he's coming off saying, I didn't think I did anything that bad. I didn't notice it after the play was over. He might have said, it might have been verbal instead of physical, but
no, couldn't have been verbal. He's looking baffled. He doesn't know what the heck the issue was there.
Well, it'll move the football to the 9, the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. It's his first one. You heard that Terry McCauley say that.
Yeah, we asked the guys in our truck, they don't have a shot of that penalty as well, so we are baffled by that personal foul.
First and goal from the 9. And here's Cohen. And Cohen right up the middle and down close to the 1-yard line. Peppers tripped him up. Schobert cleaned him up.
This guy, Tariq Cohen, now, he is fun to watch. He's one of those guys, you can just feel, when he gets the football, you can feel everybody in the stadium kind of hold their breath because he is just so quick and so explosive. It's a challenge for an offensive coordinator like Dowell Loggins for the Chicago Bears to find ways to get him the football.
Yeah, John Fox told us on Friday they love what his ceiling is. He's out. Howard is in. Actually, Cohen is out as a receiver to the far side. On second and goal from the 3. Trubisky, he's going to keep it himself, and he slides down to the 1-yard line.
You know what that was? That was the Baltimore Ravens last week against the Cleveland Browns. Caught him with a quarterback draw. The Bears trying to see if they could find a way to maybe capitalize on the same type of play, but very disciplined by the Cleveland Browns linebackers right there.
Nassib is back in. Danny Shelton made that tackle. He did an excellent job on Whitehair, the guard, to stay him upright and then slide over to make that tackle. The third and goal from just inside the 2-yard line, closer to the 1. High formation. Brown in motion. The handoff to Howard, and Howard right through the middle into the end zone. Touchdown, Chicago. Number 8 for Jordan Howard.
Well, for a shuffled offensive line, the Chicago Bears do an outstanding job on this red zone run. Howard coming right up over the 2 guards in the center. And that's just great offensive line play when you can do that on a goal line stand for the Cleveland Browns.
Well, we saw what the Cleveland Browns did last week to the Baltimore Ravens in a similar situation. Got them to a 4th and goal at the 1-yard line, and really very stout. They're very stout against the run, but right there, like you said, Steve Tasker, that was a fantastic job by the offensive line.
Yeah, now Bobby Massey, the right tackle, staying down, and that's kind of an issue. We had a long conversation, Steve Berline and I, about their offensive line. They've got 2 rookies backing up, Cameron Lee and Brandon Green. Brandon Green just activated off their practice squad, and you'll see here, that's
man, that's painful.
Yeah, that's always something the guys are fearful of.
Yeah, O-lineman's biggest fear, getting rolled up on like that. And we were talking about it before the game because the Bears only had 1 active backup offensive lineman that we knew of. We found out about Brandon Green. They have 2, both untested rookies are backing up right now.
Yeah, Compton's out with a concussion. Sitton is out with an ankle injury that he sustains.
Well, he's walking off. You can tell he's trying to literally shake it off. We'll see if he can.
Well, good for him.
I'm telling you what, that looked like, I mean, football players know it's a tib fib. I mean, it looked like a classic roll-up tib fib break, but yeah, he's walking off. That's exactly the kind of thing that a lot of people who don't watch football, they go, why doesn't that happen constantly?
It's a good point.
And it is a fear for offensive linemen down there.
And it generally happens when you're a kid playing football. Coaches say keep your feet moving. Always keep your feet moving. A lot of times when players get rolled up on us because their feet are planted and they're standing there engaged with somebody, it's really hard to do. But the more your feet are moving, the more active they are, the less the chance of being rolled up on like that. John Fox knows the one spot that he cannot afford to lose anybody today is that offensive line. So he's going to be very interested to see whether Massey's going to be able to come back or not.
Well, here's Nugent on for the point after. Nugent is the 3rd kicker used this year for the Chicago Bears. He did an excellent job with the Cowboys this year. And these extra points are going to be factors here this afternoon. It's a good snap and it's a good hold. It was deflected at the line by Nassib, and it's going to be no good. And the Bears will maintain a 6-0 lead. Hayes to be 6'7". This was a 9-play, 57-yard drive capped by Jordan Howard's plunge into the end zone to give the Bears the lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Think about that Jacksonville.
Well, maybe they can get these folks to move down from the top of the stadium where the snow looks like it's piling up. a little bit more. Here's Nugent to kick off after the missed point after. That was blocked by Nassib. Peppers will let that one go over his head and out of the back of the end zone. He better make sure he covers that up when it goes over his head. Here's the block by Nassib. He and Myles Garrett were both there. 6'7".
Go in low, time it, stand up, get a little penetration, and that's what it took.
Here's the reaction from John Fox. I know that Steve Berline, you've been friends with John Fox for a long time. He was happy to see you the other day, and he seemed to be in great spirits despite the 4-10 record.
Well, you know, John Fox has seen it all. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, hasn't won one yet as a head coach, but he's won 6 division titles. He's about seen it all in his head coaching career, 15 years. Not a lot to get him rattled.
On first down, Kaiser is not going to throw, he's going to run, and he slides forward. Eddie Jackson will be credited with the tackle. He got a couple of yards.
Yeah, great job by the Bears defense. They see this bootleg coming. They cover all their zones and pick up the guys trying to sneak out into the route. And as soon as Kaiser got his eyes around, he knew he had nowhere to throw that football. Decided very early. It was a smart move. But in this conditions, you would think a guy like Kaiser would have gotten 4 or 5 yards, but he just couldn't get there fast enough.
Right, and you remember the comment he made to us yesterday was he's just trying to eliminate the negative plays.
That's
he
right.
wants to have either positive plays or neutral plays, plays that don't hurt the team.
So that was one of the big things that Hugh Jackson talked to him about this week. He's under pressure, and he wobbles that one. It was nearly intercepted. Sam Acho was all over him, and then Adrian Amos nearly intercepted the football.
That's one that Isaiah Crowell does not want thrown to him. It was a bad decision. DeShone Kizer right there. I don't think there was any real threat of this ball being intercepted the way it was thrown, but you're running back into a headache right there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not a smart decision. That ball should be thrown away in that situation.
This will be the third opportunity on third down. They're 0 for 2 so far. Third down and 8. 3 receivers to the near side. Kaiser's looking to the near side for Gordon, and it'll be incomplete. Amukamara came up with it out of bounds, and it'll be 4th down.
The Bears came with some pressure on there. DeShone Kizer, great job standing in the pocket, taking a shot right in the ribs. You see, coming right in the middle, Danny Trevathan, he's not the one that hit him, but he was the pressure coming up on the blitz. The rib shot to DeShone Kizer, no doubt that ball was out of bounds, but Kizer, that's what affected the throw, the follow-through on that throw.
Robertson Harris was the guy that got to him. This will be the 3rd punt for Colquitt. His first 2, a little more than 40 yards. And this one they kick away from Cohen. And it goes inside the 20, and he's just going to fall on top of it inside the 15-yard line. Well, this being Christmas Eve, we thought we'd give you an idea of what the Bears are looking for Christmas. I think some of them are obvious. Continue to develop Trubisky because the last 3 weeks he's been very good completion percentage-wise. Get wide receivers healthy or draft one high. Kevin White, Cam Meredith, they've been out. Obviously, they're big pieces to this puzzle. And get some wins in the division. They're beating up on the North in the AFC.
Yeah, you'd like to see, this is a team poised with Trubisky developing and some of the young players on their offense. You know, John Fox can do it. This is a team that can go from losing double-digit games to winning double-digit games and being a contender for their division title, no question. But that's the goal, and I think it's in the not-too-distant future as well.
Bellamy goes in motion just to pick up Peppers, and Howard runs it and gets about 4 yards to the 19-yard line. And that will be the final play of the first quarter. So the end of the first quarter, the Bears 6, the Browns nothing. We'll return to Chicago after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. We get set to begin the second quarter. The Bears are on top 6-0. They're facing a 2nd down and 6. They scored on their last possession on a touchdown run by Jordan Howard. DeShone Kizer. Hugh Jackson told us yesterday, I said, are you doing more teaching this year on the sidelines? He goes, oh, yeah. He said, I'm doing teaching all the time on the sidelines. From the 19-yard line on 2nd down. Cohen is stretched out to the near side as a receiver. He'll take the football from Trubisky, and he is ripped down by Jason McCourty. That was read beautifully by McCord.
Well, it was a perfect coverage. You saw the safety come flying out of there right before the snap. That's taking advantage of a young quarterback and his indecision there. Mitchell Trubisky thought that he had a 3-deep look where he was going to have a corner playing soft. At the last minute, they backed that into a 2-deep look, and that meant the corner's playing much tighter, and he read it very clear. It was an easy read for the corner, not having to worry about a guy running past him.
Cohen remains in the game. He's not in the backfield, obviously. He's split off to the near side. As the Browns show blitz, now they pull back.
They're coming.
Kirksey and Burgess who are coming. And Trubisky bumps away from one, wobbles it to the right, and it's covered beautifully by the Browns secondary.
Yeah, you got to like what Trubisky did there. No question. He didn't get the first down, but Trubisky saw the blitz coming. He knew he got picked up, stepped up hard into the pocket, and you'll see both these guys coming up inside. He saw it pre-snap. The Bears do a nice job. They leave the last guy unblocked outside, and Trubisky steps up inside. Just couldn't get enough for the first down. Bellamy, you know, when Trubisky stepped up, Bellamy had too much time to come back too far past the sticks, and they went from a first down to a fourth down.
Well, that's Greg Williams designing the right kind of a blitz, and maybe Trubisky is a young quarterback not getting the protection set properly. That's why there was a free man coming.
Looks like we got a false start on the Bears.
Offense number 27. 5-yard penalty, fourth down.
Bears had a lot of penalties last week. In fact, they had 13 penalties for 97 yards. And don't think it didn't affect the outcome of that game against the Lions.
Oh, it definitely did. When you think of some of the third down penalties, Prince Amukamara, excuse me, that's a mouthful, but Prince Amukamara had a big one. 3rd and 8, had Detroit backed up in their own end of the field. Holding call gives Detroit a first down. They end up going down and scoring on that drive.
Well, it moves Peppers up as O'Donnell's punt. Last one was 60 yards. Peppers waiting for this one, anxiously waiting for this one. And then he is tripped up close to the 43-yard line. Kwiatkowski makes the tackle. Kaiser's coming back on.
Walter Payton, Mike Ditka, hungry Chicago, finally champions on this January day in New Orleans. Draw to Biner. Ernest Biner. Fumble the ball, and Denver has recovered. Oh, my.
One of the great sayings of all time, oh my. Known to Dick Enberg, the legendary voice, passed away this past week at his home in San Diego at the age of 82. Won 13 Sports Emmy Awards. Was honored by the Hall of Fame with the Ford C. Frick Award in 2015. Was an amazing man. I got the chance to know him pretty well during the baseball season because he was the voice of the Padres the last several years. Drove him back and forth from our stadium in Philadelphia to his hotel in Philadelphia. And I remember one time there was a car that cut us off at one point. He was in the front seat, and all of a sudden he went, oh my, just like that. Just a tremendous man, and really as versatile a voice as I think we've met in the sports worlds.
It was a big moment if Dick Enberg was calling.
Yeah, Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen, when he came over to CBS with Dan Beardoff. There's Coleman in motion on 2nd down. Kaiser, middle of the field, deflected, incomplete. Kyle Fuller breaks it up for the 2nd time today.
Deshaun Kaiser told us he wanted to try to find ways to get the football to Josh Gordon. Right there, Fuller does a nice job of anticipating the break and sitting down on it. You know, the receiver has the advantage in conditions like this because he knows where he's going. But Fuller was not afraid of Gordon running past him. He sat down on that thing and was ready to make the break. Nice play.
So now a 3rd down and 8. Kaiser is 1 of 6 so far. Gordon has been targeted a couple times, but only Njoku has made a reception for Cleveland. Duke Johnson is in the game along with Crowell. Kaiser's in trouble, and as he's falling down, he throws it away. It'll be incomplete. Kwiatkowski, you want to talk about a guy that's really come on? He was the guy pressuring him.
No doubt about it. Kwiatkowski makes that play for the Bears. He's going to come all the way from here, right through untouched, and Kaiser sees him immediately. And that Kaiser's going to go off and be bummed out that they didn't make that play or didn't have a chance to throw it. That's not a bad play for the Cleveland Browns. We've seen DeShone Kizer try and make stuff happen. His athletic ability gives him a chance to do that. He's done that just too many times. And in that situation, hey, punt it away and let's see what they can do. That was not a bad play for DeShone Kizer. Great play for Kwiatkowski.
Colquitt hits it over the head of Cohen. It bounces at the 6 and then spins along the goal line and finally through. It'll be a touchback. Well, it did not take a Cleveland Browns bounce.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter. Honda. Hurry into the Happy Honda Day sales event today. And by Forevermark. Discover the Forevermark Tribute Collection at forevermark.com.
Browns decided to go with Myles Garrett as their first overall pick in this past year's draft. He's been banged up this year, but I think they love what his ceiling will be. So they passed on Trubisky, who's an Ohio kid. Trubisky said he was a fan of the Browns, but he wasn't an overwhelming fan of the Browns. He said he's got 20 family members who are here for this game. He said, but I would normally have about 20 family members here, so it's not because we're playing Cleveland. He zips that one beautifully to Bellamy, and Bellamy's up across the 45 to the 48-yard line. Schobert makes the tackle, and that's a big gain on first down.
Now, this is what you're looking for out of a young quarterback. Now, obviously, the protection was fantastic, but watch how Trubisky drops back and scans the field and waits, gets through his progression, looks to his left. His feet are in great position. He feels the route coming in from the backside, and then delivers a strike. Very accurate. We were talking about that during the break. That's the difference between these two quarterbacks right now. Trubisky, accurate. DeShone Kizer, not there yet.
5 for 5, 63 yards to throw again. Pressure's coming from Orchard. He has some time. Now he's going to run it to the near side.
Now, who did that remind you of right there? Yeah, tell me. Okay.
You say it. You say it.
Mitch Trubisky is going to be the next Aaron Rodgers. You said it. I get it.
It reminds me of that type of ability. He's looking through all of his reads. He's buying extra time, and if it's not there, okay, I'll just run over here. I'll pick up 7 yards.
Right.
It looks like that's what Rodgers does.
As a young quarterback right now, Mitch Trubisky is as far along as anybody in that draft class.
And one thing that John Fox told us the other day, and he has 89 total yards, the Browns have 40. He said, let's take into account he only played 13 games in college. So he's got a very limited experience so far game-wise. We got movement everywhere.
One of the
False
things.
start. Offense number 79. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
One of the things that kind of went under the radar is Bobby Massey's back in the game for Chicago, so he kind of shook that early leg injury on when he got rolled up, and now you see Soul has gone back to left guard.
Yeah, they've been moving the offensive linemen around for John Fox with the injury to Sitton, the injury to Compton. Whitehair is probably their most versatile. He's normally the center. He's playing guard today. Second
got. The Cleveland Browns, we spoke about it. Somebody's got to make a play. Somebody's got to do something. But here's the thing. The Cleveland Brown guys, all of a sudden, everybody thinks they got to win it on every play. You try and do too much if you're Higgins. Yeah, that was already a great play. They had the first down. He got up and got a little extra yards, but then all of a sudden you forget to protect it. And the Bears are playing too.
That was a big hit by Eddie Goldman.
The Bears are trying to make a play as well.
Yeah, he and Trevathan were part of that hit. Trevathan went ripping. Goldman went hitting.
Yeah, Goldman is the one that knocked that ball out of there. Higgins feeling terrible on that side. Get in line. He's just another guy on the sideline feeling responsible for making a mistake.
Trubisky to throw on first down. And a diving grab by Inman. That'll be first down yardage, a gain of 12 in front of Jason McCourty. And that'll be the final play of the third quarter. The clock winding down. Chicago on top of Cleveland 20-3. We'll return to Chicago after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Quarter points has given the Bears a 20-3 lead as we begin the fourth quarter here in Chicago. 10th giveaway in the red zone, which leads the National Football League. Higgins had the ball knocked and stripped by Goldman and Trevathan. From the 32-yard line on first down. High formation. And Trubisky will keep on throwing and throws it low for Burton. Trubisky, this is the first time we've seen him in person. I think he's looked pretty good today at times.
Oh, absolutely. He's made great plays. This screen pass, you saw him pump hard to his left, come back to his right. All that. He's been as accurate as you really needed him to be. He has made some really nice throws, ripped it down the field. And if you're going to be a quarterback in Chicago, show a little toughness. Busted into the end zone on an inside run quarterback draw. That guy really, I think he really has given this organization a chance. They're moving on from the quarterback spot. They've got their guy, and he's shown it week in, week out. You think the upside of Mitch Trubisky, and you said, you know, he's less than he hasn't even had 24 starts.
Amazing. Myles Garrett being helped off. Apparently he got poked in the eye on that last play. And take a look.
Right here.
Oh yeah, right there. So the helmet go up. Myles Garrett, the first overall pick out of Texas A&M. Trubisky, the second overall pick out of North Carolina. Sean Kaiser said to us yesterday when we were talking about Trubisky, because he watched him when he was in high school, he said, I was really impressed. I thought he was amazing. And then I thought, why is he going to North Carolina? Why isn't he going to a bigger school for football?
He was Mr. Ohio for the state of Ohio, obviously. And then it was kind of interesting to see Kaiser react. You could tell he was a fan of Trubisky. 1 year behind him, but he looked up to him as a guy that, you know, really was well respected and well known in the state of Ohio for a high school quarterback.
They'd never really met him until they got on draft day. They actually got to spend like a half an hour together, and he said, wow, we really hit it off. You know, a couple of Ohio kids. They I said, wow, it'd be nice to get to know the guy. We had a lot of chemistry on that draft day.
3rd down and 7. Trubisky throws it high, incomplete. And it'll be 4th down. The Bears will give it back to the Browns.
Well, one last note on Trubisky. I think the thing that I look for in a young quarterback is a presence about him. And when we're talking with him, it's a little intimidating for a young guy to get used to that situation, get comfortable with it. But you could tell he has a lot of the qualities with the way he carries himself. And he looks at it and says, you know what? Everybody's talking about how good it's been the last few weeks. He's like, I still don't feel like I have complete control out there. I know I've got a long way to go. He admits he has a lot of work to do.
Total ownership of all the bad things he's done on the field, as well as the success.
Fair catch called by Jabril Peppers. The Browns go back to work from the 28-yard line when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Garmin. Get a Garmin smartwatch and beat yesterday. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Well, Frosty has made an appearance here in Chicago. So back in Week 8 against the New Orleans Saints, Zach Miller had a horrific injury. And this is Miller at practice this week in front of his teammates, walking after surgery. He's going to need another surgery coming up. And how about this today? He walked out. Everybody had some trepidation because he was walking out in the snow. But we saw him the other day at practice. His teammates were really happy to see him.
So good to see that. I mean, such a horrific injury. You know, you don't know how bad it could have been. Really, I don't think any of us realize how serious that was. But to see him up and around is fantastic.
Well, Kaiser goes down. Sam Acho and Akeem Hicks were both in for the sack. And it's interesting because Hicks told us the other day, the guy that's really stepped it up this year defensively has been Sam Acho.
Yeah. You saw what Spencer Drango just gave up 5 yards of straight ahead rush to Sam Acho right there on that play. It's hard to hunker down and stop him when he's got 5 yards of momentum going on you.
40 sacks overall. Acho, the veteran, 7th-year pro out of Texas. 2.5 sacks now. It'll be 2nd down and 14. Pressure's coming again. Kaiser steps up. Kaiser trying to avoid it. Kaiser tripped up and goes down. Roy Robertson Harris is the one who got the ankle and slowed him to the ground.
Yeah, this is the point of the game where it's going to be Acho's going to come out, spin out, chase him back, and then from the inside they chase him down. But that's what Kaiser's going to have to do. If he's doesn't see anybody, it's better to pull it down and run and end up. You got to end the play with the ball in your possession, and that's what Kaiser did. At least they can line up on a 3rd and 11 and have the ball instead of trying to make something happen and it going the other way.
Under 13 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. On 3rd down, Kaiser to throw. Pocket collapses, throws, passes complete to Coleman, and Kwiatkowski rings him up. I was impressed with him last week watching that Lions game.
Yeah, that Kwiatkowski is really, you can look there. I mean, this is a guy that knows how to tackle in the NFL. Covers a lot of ground coming over there late on that pass.
He's worked his way back into the starting lineup. He missed 6 weeks due to a torn pectoral muscle, and just the last couple weeks has really played himself back into that starting role.
Yeah, he wasn't out of the lineup for a pulled leg muscle. I know that because that guy can scoot.
Here's Colquitt on the punt again. Cohen back deep to receive, standing inside the 30-yard line. And they kick away from Cohen, not a surprise, as the ball bounces at the 24 and then inside the 20-yard line before it just dies. 11:43 to play in the 4th quarter. Colquitt kept it away from Cohen, but not the Bears. Back here in Chicago, where the Bears hold a 20-3 lead over the Browns. The Browns 0-14. Last year on Christmas Eve, they picked up their first and only victory against the San Diego Chargers. DeShone Kizer today is 13 of 25 for 153 yards.
Well, if they want to keep that Christmas Eve record perfect,
got to get rolling here.
They better get started about now.
Yeah. Well, their defense has still been solid here this afternoon. Offset out formation behind Trubisky. Here's Howard. And Howard is stopped at the line of scrimmage and pushed back. Ogunjobi, who's had a decent day. Next Sunday, it's the final games of the regular season on the final day of the year, and it could be do or die for some teams depending on what happens today. Ring in the new year with a great doubleheader and join JB, Phil, Coach, Nate, and Boomer for the complete playoff picture in the NFL today at 12 Eastern on CBS. Patriots and the Bills playing today. That's a big one when it comes to the playoff picture. Titans playing the Rams. On second down, it's Howard again. And not a whole lot there. Again, this run defense for the Browns, solid, third in the AFC. And here's the AFC playoff picture. Buffalo at 8-6. Outside looking in right now with Baltimore winning yesterday and Tennessee, the other wild card team. Kansas City playing right now for an opportunity to wrap up the AFC West. Patriots are so dangerous. The Steelers, despite the loss last week, so dangerous. The Ravens so dangerous.
They're not going to be a cakewalk by any stretch. Felt like they should have beat Pittsburgh a few weeks back and won another piece of them.
Here comes the blitz by the Browns. Garrett back in, chasing Trubisky along with Burgess. And Burgess takes him down inside the 15-yard line.
This is great presence by Mitchell Trubisky right here. This was a screen pass set to go to left side. We see a flag on the field. Picked it up okay, but Trubisky saw that the screen pass to his left was not going to be there. So instead of panicking and trying to make something out of nothing, he says, you know, we're winning this ball game. I'll just get what I can get down, and we'll punt the ball, we'll get out of there. Just
that takes such presence of mind, and you almost have to fight yourself to make something happen in that spot in the third and long. Such a smart, disciplined play. Just slide in, punt the football away, and let your defense get it back for you. That's hard to do for a young quarterback, as we've seen.
Here comes Peppers for the 45, assessing. And there's a flag as Peppers bounces to the outside and gets into Chicago territory. He fumbled the football. I believe Cleveland has recovered it. And again, there is a penalty flag down at the 45 of Cleveland. That usually means an illegal block. There's also one back in the other end.
Two fouls during the kick on the receiving team. Holding number 80, that penalty's declined. Holding number 10. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down, timeout.
Well, it's Sammy Coates' holding penalty to decide to take. Let's see if Hugh Jackson's offense can get something rolling when we get back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Walmart. Rock this Christmas with Walmart. Cricket Wireless. Something to smile about. And by Acura Season Up Performance Event.
Well, our crew has done an outstanding job today considering the conditions. I mean, look inside the truck. I mean, they've got the Yule log going. Yeah,
hey.
That's a shot right there because our camera crew, they've been unbelievable outside today. I mean, they were out early while the snow was falling hard. Meanwhile, Scott Brandwine, our producer, and Chris Svensson, our director, they are warm and toasty in the truck. Yep. Johnson in the backfield. It'll be first and 10. 9:11 to play in the fourth quarter. Bears with a commanding 17-point lead. Kaiser underneath to Johnson, and Johnson tracked down from behind by Jonathan Bullard. It's a gain of 5. All right, so John Dorsey took over recently as the general manager of the Cleveland Browns. We spoke with him last week before the ball game. He's a guy that obviously has a pedigree, as you can see there. The Kansas City GM from 2013 to the after the draft last year. He's excited about taking over the Cleveland Browns. As that ball is deflected and nearly intercepted.
No
Kyle
question.
Fuller breaks it up.
As a GM, you want to come to Cleveland with all the draft capital that they really do have to work with. 2 first-round picks that are going to be top 5 picks.
Looks that way, yep.
And then 3 second-round picks, 2 picks each in the 4th, 5th, and 6th. And that's just, it's exactly where you want to be as a franchise moving forward. Plus, the first guaranteed with a loss or tie by the New York Giants, this team's going to have the #1 overall pick. So the question, and we talked to Hugh Jackson about it too. He had an interesting thought. they hired John Dorsey. He said, hey, and they spoke, and he said, we see things the same way. And it was interesting what he said about Dorsey.
He said we're attached at the hip right now.
Yeah, he said, and everybody says, well, when you get a new GM, he's going to want his own head coach. And Hugh Jackson's take on it was, you know what, we got one more guy in our building that is excited about us turning it around. And that's the more people you have inside your building doing that, the better it is for everybody. So I think Hugh Jackson really welcomed it.
8:17 left to play. It is a first down to Duke Johnson, who has 6 receptions for 72 yards. Kaiser to throw again, near side for Gordon, can't hang on. Fuller there again defensively. Well, before last week's game, we talked to Duke Johnson about the number of receptions that he has this year. We asked him, did you think you'd be this effective as a receiver out of the backfield coming out of college? He said, yeah. He said, in reality, I kind of hope they move me to receiver at some point. Well,
they just got 67.
Yeah, Stinger talked about before, 67th reception this season, and it's a record for the Browns.
Well, I'll tell you something else. There's only 5 running backs in the history of the game that have more catches in the first 3 years than Duke Johnson. I'll give you that list after we see what happens here.
Kaiser tried to drop it off to Crowell.
Well, we're going to do a promo first.
It'll be all wrapped into.
Okay, go ahead.
Coming up on the State Farm postgame show, join JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cowler for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the State Farm postgame show. Steve Barline, give us that list.
All right, here's the list. The 5 guys that have more, only 5 guys in history of the NFL that have more catches through 3 years than Duke Johnson. LaDainian Tomlinson, Reggie Bush, Roger Craig, Herschel Walker,
wow,
and then, of course, the great Ted Brown out of Minnesota from 1979-1981.
The great Ted Brown.
But 4 of those names are names you know for sure. He's in great company. Ted Brown obviously was a great player as well.
Kaiser throws high to Coleman, incompletes. It'll be 4th down.
And no change, and now they will send the punt team on. There was a hesitation there, but you got to punt it away.
Well, this has turned out to be another frustrating day for the Browns and their fans. I mean, you look at the score, yes, but there's so many other facets that have made it frustrating here today.
When we talk about DeShone Kizer and the frustrations he's had this year, we all know he has the physical ability to do this. But let's look at what's happened today on the field. There just haven't been a lot of guys running free around on the football field either, you know, so that makes it difficult.
Cohen calls for the fair catch. The Bears get it back when we return to Chicago. Well, back here in Chicago where the Bears are on top 20-3 with the football. Not great field position, but they do have a 17-point lead with 7:50 to play in the 4th quarter. Try to run out the time if they can. Brown showing blitz, but Gordy's coming in. They hand it off to Howard, though, and Howard having a little trouble finding some daylight. Garrett takes him down, gain of 1. All right, so since the Browns last had a Sunday win, they won last year on a Saturday. Cavaliers have made 2 NBA Finals, won the 2016 championship. Indians were in the World Series. There have been 3 Star Wars movies released, much to the delight of Steve Tasker, and 6 iPhones released as well.
That kind of sums it all up.
They lost last 31 games on Sunday.
At this point in history, Cleveland Brown fans have got to be about 95% scar tissue.
Here's Howard again.
I'll tell you what, and we did a Cleveland game. You got to tip your hat to their fans.
I would agree with that.
You really do, because they are hanging in there with this team.
First charge timeout, Cleveland.
Cleveland with
That was called.
Oh, my goodness, that's like Burton in the backfield.
False start.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Number 46. 5-yard penalty, second down.
For me, one of the reasons you do it, give Trubisky more reps running a regular offense. I mean, I get the idea, and let the guy show how much he's learned. No question that the bank, he's going to see a lot of pressure from the Browns. They're going to keep playing hard, and every rep is important for a guy like Trubisky.
But at the same time, he can run a bootleg in his sleep, and the way they came with that blitz last time, if Trubisky wasn't as athletic and aware as he is, he could have turned right around and taken a shot, and the ball's up in the air all of a sudden, and maybe they get a fumble and go for a touchdown. I just think
Well,
if you're going to think
like that, though, bro, put him on a bench.
No, that's
let him play.
It's
Let him
situational
play.
football.
Second down, the pitch goes to Howard. Howard steps up and inside the 40 to the 36. Burgess drags him down.
Yeah.
And he got a lot back on that one.
One of the things I noticed, we talked to Howard, and what a we said it in the open. You got a rookie quarterback in Mitch Trubisky that looks like the real deal, and then you got this guy who, when I watched him, I was, you read about him and we talk about him, you watch him on games like this, but then when I saw him in person on Friday, we were watching practice, and he came in and talked to us. He's got some size. This is a guy that's going to be a durable, inside the numbers guy who can play a running back position with some physicality for a long time in this league. I really love the way he stands out on a football field. They're set up really well in their backfield.
Yeah, because they have Cohen, who's a little different. He was the man in motion. Here's Howard again, and Howard's got the first down and smartly slides down to keep the clock going.
Yeah, seeing a second year back doing that, really smart. You got Trubisky making some great headsy plays, even conservative plays. And this is a Bears team with John Fox that they're mentally prepared and they're all there. Their lights are on and they're always thinking about this game, and I think it's really promising for this Bears organization.
I think John Fox is licking his chops, hoping again, people speculating on his future, hoping he gets a shot at next year to show what he believes is a team that's getting pretty close to being very, very competitive.
We asked him about the talk of maybe having somebody replace him, and he said, I can't think about that. He goes, I've been through it so many times before. Here's Howard again, and Howard back to the line of scrimmage.
When you become a coach, you kind of sign up for that.
Coming up on the State Farm postgame show, join JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the State Farm postgame show.
Talk about coaches. John Fox wakes up, his family, and they had a parade. They had a list of like 16 or 17 coaches that were in line to take his job. And it's funny to listen to as guys like us, but these are guys that are working hard to win games, and it's a professional atmosphere over there.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FedEx. Sign up for FedEx Delivery Manager. And by Bud Light. Brewed to be enjoyed responsibly.
Well, I think the smartest people out in the stands today are the ones that are bundled up, not the ones that are trying to show off their guns in the stands. 20-3, the score. Chicago on top. 2 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. It's snowing most of the day. It hasn't really been a huge factor. They've done a good job clearing the field. Howard's been a factor on this drive as he runs for about 4 yards. There's a flag from the outside.
Offense for 65. 10-yard penalty, second down.
That's Whitehair, who's playing guard today. Whitehair out of Kansas State. They drafted as a guard, and John Fox said he just felt more comfortable with him as a center because of his hands and his footwork and his size, but out of necessity, he's playing guard today because of the injury to Josh Sitton and Tom Compton. Just the fourth penalty against the Chicago Bears. Bears will improve to 5-10 with 1 game left. The Browns will fall to 0-15. To Howard again to the right side. And he'll be stopped after 2 yards as Christian Kirksey makes the tackle. Now the clock will wind, under 1:40 to play. Hugh Jackson. His team has 2 timeouts, but he realizes they're down by 17, so it's just closing up shop now.
Yeah,
they're down to one last shot at avoiding the goose egg next week.
Well, and yet next week is not an easy task,
No,
obviously.
it's not. No,
it's a game that's going to mean something to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep. It's in Pittsburgh, I believe.
It is in Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
yep. Today is the final home game for the Bears.
180!
Here's Howard again. He'll drop down. He lost 4 on the play. So we're under a minute to play. It'll be 4th down. And there'll be bonus coverage coming up between the Chargers and the Jets once this one comes to a close. Chargers trying to get over the 500 mark, keep hope alive going into the final week of the season.
Yeah, the Chargers need a lot of help. Baltimore winning last night didn't help them. But the Bills losing today helps.
Sure it does.
San Diego.
Yep. 30 seconds and counting to play. O'Donnell will let this one wind down as far as he can before he boots it. The Browns will have time for probably 1 play, and that's it here in the 4th quarter. Now a timeout call. John Fox
Second. Charge timeout.
burns his second
Chicago.
timeout.
30-second timeout.
So 13 seconds left. Well, for Mitchell Trubisky and the rest of the Bears, it'll be a good Christmas after winning today, 20-3.
Yeah, not a whole lot to be excited about for the Bears this year, but a whole lot more than what the Cleveland Browns have had going for them today. John Fox, he told us when we were leaving his office Friday, he said, I hope we win so I have a good Christmas.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Because he's like, we're not making the playoffs. Obviously, it's not going to happen this year, but I got to deal with a whole house full of people
Family
that are
and friends,
coming in.
yeah.
I don't want to fake it.
Yeah.
Well, and the Bears will finish off a sweep of the AFC North with his victory today as O'Donnell lets this one go. Peppers will not be able to track it down as it bounces inside the 5 and goes out inside the 1.
There's a nail right there.
That is the kind of year it's been for the Cleveland Browns with 5 seconds left to play here in the 4th quarter. Look at O'Donnell. It's the best kick of the day. This is what happened last week for Jabril Peppers. He does the right thing, letting the ball go over his head, but they just haven't been able to get their bounce.
They have not gotten many bounces in any figurative or literal form this year.
Well, this will be the final play of the afternoon. As Kaiser working from his end zone.
Can't take a knee.
Cannot take a knee. Gonna have to hand it off to Johnson. Or his fullback. He gives it to Johnson, and Johnson runs up the middle, and that will do it. Final score, it's the Bears 20 and the Browns 3. Coming up next, it'll be the State Farm postgame show. So for Steve Berline and Steve Tasker, this is Tom McCarthy saying so long from Chicago. We'll take it back to New York for all the scores and highlights right after this.